This is Toledo Symphony Lab, a behind-the-scenes look at the world of classical music from WGTE Public Media and your Toledo Symphony. I'm Brad Cresswell. Joining me today in the studio, we're wearing our masks and we are socially distant. We have the Toledo Symphony's president and CEO, Zach Vassar, and we also have the principal second violin and artistic administrator, Merwin Sue. And with us by phone is the TSO's music director, Elaine Trudell, and also our special guest, that is our old friend Michael Lang from Toledo Ballet. Welcome, Michael.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody's going, is he still special, really?
Well, you know,
at this point.
I had a better fanfare planned. But
it's a little heavy on the footsteps, though.
Yeah, we can try this one. There you go. Full subtle for that.
That's the one.
That's my level of specialness, I think.
Yeah, yes. I think. Well, but before we merged organizations, you had a better fanfare. Now you just get the duck quacking.
Totally. So now that we've got you here, Michael, why are you here? No.
I'm asking the same question. Brad.
Exactly. We've got you on the phone. We've got Elaine on the phone. We've got our mostly our regular Symphony Lab panel here. Vanessa has the day off, but we are talking about a concert that's happening April 25th. It's Sunday evening at 7 p.m. It's called Moving Soliloquies. This is part of the dance series of the Toledo Symphony, and there's a really interesting concept behind all of this. This is your brainchild, Michael, your creation here, music and dance. Why don't you give us, sort of the elevator pitch for what it is that this concert represents?
Well, it's interesting because this past year, with all this COVID craziness, when we did Gershwin, I think the goal was mainly let's make something very lighthearted and fun and a bit of escapism for people to just forget about all this for a while, and we accomplished that goal. But then, what's interesting to me about working with all these kids at the ballet this past year is that the ballet has become their refuge. It's that one little bit of normal in their life that they are just clinging on to. And so, for artists, creating art is also some form of normal that we look forward to as well. So with Moving Soliloquies, my goal was a little bit more of like, hey, let's just put some art back out there for people to experience and to, have some thoughts and ponder things and everything else. And it's kind of an interesting idea. I'm really diving into Shakespeare before Shakespeare was Shakespeare. So if you're a Shakespearean historian, you might be a little like, hey, wait a minute, because I've not even paid any attention to the history or anything. What we've done is I have Juliet Quinlan playing Shakespeare. My whole entire cast, except for my little guy that's playing Puck, is all women. So I've done the opposite of what Shakespeare did in his time, where the casts were all men and boys. And what's happening is we're watching Shakespeare come up with Shakespeare right before our eyes, and we do this through Jaques' All the World's the Stage and All the Men and Women Merely Players from As You Like It, and my dancers go through the 7 ages of that particular speech, and but we also have the figments of Shakespeare's imagination, the voices in his head, in the form of Puck. In the form of Ariel from The Tempest, which is actually a dancer that makes all the theatrical magic, come to life, the liaison, if you will. I've got a Romeo who represents his romantic side when he writes things, romantically and things like that. And then Iago from Othello that is a little bit more of his dark, sinister side. But they're all the voices in his head that helps him to write these. And it's really a unique idea. But we're taking that concept from Jaques' speech, from birth to death. But my hopeful, what I hope people get out of this is that, this is a person's version of life, and we all have our own versions of life. We all have our own experiences, and what I want to represent with this idea is that that death isn't really the end. It's a transformation. It's a new beginning, of something else. And so hopefully people leave just enjoying hearing some Shakespeare soliloquies, enjoying the different forms of dance that we're going to do within all this, and just kind of walk away going, wow, that was really, really different and interesting. So that's my hope.
Yeah, I think we should just take a moment and acknowledge the genius of Michael Lang for coming up with this. I mean, what a great concept and a great way to be, as we're starting to come back a little bit from the pandemic, to present this incredible marriage of dance, of, theater, and of music as well. Michael, tell us a little bit more about the actual dancers that are performing. You mentioned Juliet Quinlan. She's playing the part of, Shakespeare himself. What can you tell us about some of the people that we're going to be watching on the stage?
Well, I have a list of, like I said, I have 4 actors. So it really is a meshing of dance and acting and music. Merwin can probably fill you in more on the quartet. We kept the very chamber music, very quartets and piano trio kind of stuff. And it's a little all over the place, because my idea with that was that I wanted to take something that hadn't actually been used in the past to represent Shakespeare, but I also wanted to have it a bit eclectic, so that it represents this idea that, life is a little all over the place. So when you get, we have a bookend of Beethoven with birth and death. So I really wanted these two to kind of go, look, this is just another form of this, and tie them together with Beethoven. Beethoven's one of my favorites. But then, we go into a soldier, which is, that stage of life where you're just trying to fight and claw your way, through and get up the corporate ladders, and, the idea of a soldier himself or herself.
I've been in that stage for the last 50 years, I think.
Yeah, same. But, I used a piece from Shostakovich for that, which is like just crazy off the wall, and this girl's literally climbing up a 3-rung ladder, and kicking it over, and this whole thing. So it's very powerful. But I've got the dances are really individual, and I've kept, because of COVID, we've kept things small, so that there's not a bunch of dancers on stage. It's really just solos, but then the other dancers come out, and it's how does this stage of life influence this, and the birth, and then there's love that's represented, then the teen love kind of idea. Mm-hmm. Where she actually transforms from this. I have my Romeo, who's played by Lillian Buck, do the balcony scene, because she sees this dancer just dancing in this bedroom setting kind of thing. But then she actually transforms and becomes the idea of love itself. So birth and love and death are really more energies that are just kind of always there. They're always there, whatever stage of life we're in. You can experience, I think when you get a new job, it feels like, a new birth, a new section. I have a daughter who just turned 18 a couple weeks, or I think a week ago. Oh gosh. And this is watching her prepare to go to college and take this next journey in life is, to me, like another birth. It's just another stage of life that we are constantly, we were born into this, and then we live that out, and then that dies, and we go into this. And, it's this constant transformations of this journey of life that we're all living.
So, Michael, I just want to jump in for a moment, because you came to us with this beautiful idea in your mind, I want to say maybe a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and the junction of music and dance and words and acting just seems like such a wonderful way to kind of celebrate the TAPA mission in bringing all these great things together. But now, of course, in the last year, we've been dealing with some unforeseen obstacles, and this suddenly is a perfect kind of program, both in its size, but also some of the focus that you've just outlined. You've talked about birth and death and discovery a lot, and I'm just wondering, during the past year, as COVID has been around us, how has that shaped or reshaped or changed your idea of this program, simply because of all of the different tangents that you're bringing together into this beautiful performance?
Well, it's interesting, because obviously if COVID didn't exist, I wouldn't have a whole stage full of dancers with masks on their face and their faces, but But what's been interesting with this is I've seen this, kind of juxtaposition of what we're going through and what this show has become. And I thought, well, that's what Jaques is talking about. We put on these masks to get through this game of life, this theatrical, thing of life that we all live. And so the masks are kind of interesting to me in the sense that it's totally apropos for what we're going through now, but it's also apropos for what this story is, this idea that we do put on these masks, to present ourselves this way with these people and this, it's like if you're having a dinner party at home and you're laughing and, having a great time and everything, that's going to be different than the mask you wear when you're at a board meeting or when you're, at work or this or that, so it's like we're constantly putting on masks to play the part, and I think that's what the show is about. And that's really, in a literal sense, we've been wearing these masks. It's been odd to see, every once in a while a kid will like take their mask down to drink a thing of water or something. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen that child's face in a year. And it's just, it's really, so yeah, I don't know. Plus, just what you said about actors and musicians and dancers, it's kind of interesting in that aspect too, that now that we are kind of, everybody's getting the vaccinations and we're hopefully seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. Just the idea of everybody coming together, different groups of people coming together to do something as one is kind of interesting to me as well. But, yeah, I don't know. It's been an interesting year for sure, as we can all attest.
Yeah. Well, the way you talk about this piece, and we keep uncovering, deeper and deeper layers as to the relevancy of this piece. First of all, I want to mention again, I said this earlier, but there's only one performance of this, right? It's Sunday at 7 p.m. Now, people can live stream that at stream.artstoledo.com. And Zach, will they be able to watch it after the fact as well?
Certainly. So it's available for in-person tickets, of course, but also the availability of live streaming and on-demand streaming.
And, I mean, it's so rich and so interesting and a one-of-a-kind experience. People should be beating down the doors to see this show. I want to bring in you, Merwin, because Michael talked a little bit about the music. He mentioned Shostakovich, he mentioned Beethoven, and I sort of see your fingerprints on this piece as well. As far as programming music goes. Can you talk a little bit about the music that you helped Michael to choose for this production?
Well, definitely, I think that we really need to give a lot of credit to Michael because he's just so voracious and eclectic in his musical tastes. So there's connections that he'll make that I wouldn't necessarily have made. And that really sets the program apart. I think when you look at this, is really interesting because Michael mentioned that Beethoven really bookends this program. And, it's funny because of all of the composers on the program, I think, Beethoven might be the one who is most directly associated with Shakespeare in these two particular selections. Yet we've kind of disassociated them from the traditional associations. So the Ghost Trio movement that we're using is not necessarily used in a way that would have been kind of that original, witches scene sort of thing in Macbeth. And then,
But there is a Hamlet connection with that Ghost Trio.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In Beethoven.
Yeah. And there's so many different possibilities. Like Shostakovich actually wrote, multiple settings of Hamlet. But because we're trying to kind of limit this to a genre in chamber music that so often is actually absolute music, we've kind of freed the choreography from those expectations that typically, you would have with other program music. Yeah. And you're taking something that has the vividness of program music, because somebody like Shostakovich, somebody like Grieg, somebody like Borodin, these are composers who have a theatricality to them, for whom, composing with gesture and with vitality and with rhythm are second nature. But we've taken chamber music that doesn't necessarily have that kind of preconceived connotation,
Mm-hmm.
and allowed the dancers and Michael to really make magic with that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept, thinking of these composers who wrote, program music, music that centers around an idea or a theme or some theatrical event, which, is what Shakespeare is all about, and composers that wrote absolute music, music for music's sake. And if I'm right, and tell me if I'm on the wrong path here, but it seems like you kind of stripped away the theatricality so that you could present this music and then allow Michael to fill in, sort of what is happening on the stage and in the music and with the soliloquies themselves to create something entirely original and new.
Absolutely. I think you get this. There are some composers who even in their most absolute of music, and the music that's kind of very much purely music for its own sake, there are composers who just have a theatricality, a sense of gesture and rhythm in their music. Shostakovich is an excellent example. He wrote so much wonderful ballet music and dance music and operatic music that even a string quartet that wasn't necessarily intended for this sort of stage, pulses with that sort of life.
Yeah.
And so I think one thing as well that, in choosing the pieces that have been chosen is there's a sense of timelessness, because you're not rooted in a single century. You're not rooted in a single type of expression. And even though we're using relatively few instruments, you're getting a really kind of eclectic, diverse sense of sound. So there's very much a progression, but there's sometimes where it just jarringly jumps from one century to another.
Yeah.
And I think that's very intentional.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I think what Merwin's touching on was intentional. I have the actors that are down left, and it's almost like they're in Renaissance land, and they're in Shakespeare's time. But then once we get out and we make this circle of the seven ages, I want people almost a little confused on what time period we're in, because to me, it's always interesting that, I have a relative that's always a little bit like, well, we just didn't do that back in the, and it's like, well, humans have been humans. I think circumstances change. I think, environments might change and things, but really the human nature has always been, and so that's what I wanted to create, was this idea of like, what time period are we in now? I don't know. I want them almost a little confused as to, wait, is she supposed to be Juliet, or is she, so that kind of thing, that this life just keeps spinning, it's a constant flux of change, so that's the little bit of what I was going for with all those eclectic choices.
Michael, hearing you talk about all of this, I really wish you would direct some opera. I think that would be great to have you as an opera director as well. I want to move on to our quiz, but first, looking at the program here, just to be clear, I mean, there are musical selections obviously being danced to, but are there also monologues that are being performed? Just the words? There
are. Like I said, in the beginning, Juliet, it's like she comes out and she's pondering, there's an idea that's brewing in her head, and she goes into Jaques' speech.
Okay.
But then Romeo does the balcony scene. Iago, I'm trying to think how to best describe, what is it? Be my purse.
Yeah, thus do I ever make my fool my purse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which has spoiled one of my quiz questions, by the way, but that's okay.
I love it when we
Anything I
outpress
can
well
do
you.
to spoil the quiz, I'm there for you.
Yeah.
But then, once we get into the sixth stage, which is just this old age and the body's starting to, become a little bit more decrepit, and, I threw in Lear. This old man that just feels like he's been betrayed by his own daughters, and and all that stuff that comes with old age, and like, obviously with Shakespeare to its biggest extreme, of the storm scene with Lear. But then one of my favorites, this has always been one of my favorites, at the end, before Second Childness and Mere Oblivion shows up, she goes into Macbeth's Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which is probably one of my favorite Shakespeare's. but then Ariel comes out, and I've got Fiona Barnheiser who's playing Ariel, and I literally, with this kid, I tell you, she's got her own dance language. So I give her the idea, I give her structure, and then I say, here, play over here, and so that's literally how I choreograph her, just wind her up and watch her go. But she really is the liaison between these two worlds of Renaissance and who knows when. And she comes out, after tomorrow and tomorrow, and it's this just pessimistic view of life, which, obviously Macbeth has reason at that point in the play to have, but she just gives him like a shush and like, that's your idea, and then we take death into another idea, well, maybe it's this experience for someone else, so yeah, so I think those are all the soliloquies that are in there, but yeah.
Excellent. The show is called Moving Soliloquies. It is streaming live on Sunday, also open to some audience as well. More information at 419-246-8000. That's the box office number. ToledoSymphony.com, of course, is their website, or just go straight to stream.artstoledo.com, right? Yeah. Okay, let's get to this quiz. This quiz is, let me bring up the music first.
Here's where my genius falters.
But with quiz music like this, how can you go wrong? Here's Johnny.
This quiz is called Name That Soliloquy, okay?
Name That Soliloquy. All right, and nice seeing you guys.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a quote, and it's not necessarily a soliloquy. It could be just a
soliloquy.
A soliloquy. I was sweating about that word all day. Soliloquy, not necessarily taken directly from a soliloquy per se, but it's taken from a particular play. Uh-huh. And the idea is you name the play, okay? Should be easy.
We get to Google Shakespeare.
Should be easy, okay.
Yes, is there a Shazam thing that we can do where you say the line, it automatically spits out the album?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that exists.
Shazamiquy.
I'm just going to preface this with, I don't even remember the teacher in high school who taught me Shakespeare's name, so I'm just going to start there.
Well, you're fine, because that's not on the quiz. Okay.
Funny if it were.
Here we go. First quote. Name that soliloquy, or name that play. They are all but stomachs, and we all but food, to eat us hungrily, and when they are full, they belch us.
Okay, I'll try Falstaff.
Falstaff? Whoops. First bad buzzer. Nope, not Falstaff. Okay, here's the next one.
Oh, wow. Did nobody even guess another chance?
Thus
we
do
just
I...
keep going around to the same show, right?
Okay, hang on. Thus do I ever make my fool my purse.
There's Iago. Othello.
That goes to Michael. That's the quiz question.
Like you said, luckily we got one that I already used here, so I'm pretty impressed with that one.
So can I clarify the format here, Game Man? Can I just ask, are you going multiple soliloquies from the same play?
Yeah.
And the farther down we go, probably the easier and more obvious they get.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
That would have been really helpful to know.
All right, gotcha.
Well, we'll consider that a warm-up question then.
Oh, no, Michael got the point.
Okay. Yeah. My mistress with a monster is in love.
The Tempest.
Tempest, yeah, I would say Tempest.
That's a no. Okay. Nope. I kiss the walls whole, not your lips at all.
It's not Midsummer Night's Dream?
Well, it is Midsummer Night's Dream. But you said the Tempest before.
I said Tempest.
Yeah,
Michael and I said Tempest. Merwin said
Oh, Merwin. Okay.
So, I think
Merwin, you get it.
One third of 1 point.
I went Tempest.
Yeah, I did too.
Right. The other quote I had was, now until the break of day, through this house each fairy stray. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay, here we go.
Coriolan.
Coriolanus. New play. All right, new play.
Oh, Shakespeare humor.
Now, I got to be careful here because I'm marking Merwin and Michael both with an M, so M-I and M-R.
People get us confused all the time. I'm not sure if you know that, Brad.
Yeah, it's happening right now. Okay.
Right.
If you have tears, prepare to shed them now. That's a quote. That's not me talking.
Yeah, thanks.
If you have tears, prepare to shed them now.
Is this Romeo?
No, not Romeo.
Julius Caesar?
Wow, good job.
Can we discuss what Merwin's major was?
I don't know if we started the show with Elaine. I don't know if he's still there. Are you still there, Elaine?
Oh, yeah, I'm still there.
He's there. He's still there.
I'm still there. I'm enjoying the show. Good show.
This is your big chance, Elaine, to jump in with some of these quiz questions. Okay.
Carry on.
All right.
You want a free ticket to a live recording of the show.
Yeah. You got a new car, if I remember, in one of the shows.
He's the only one that applied for it, but he did win. So, yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Weren't not for laughing, I should pity him. Weren't not for laughing, I should pity him. Okay. While you live, tell truth and shame the devil.
Oh, getting closer.
The better part of valor is discretion.
Wow.
That's said by a character that Merwin actually guessed early on. I think it was Merwin.
Falstaff?
Well, that's said by the character of Falstaff, but Falstaff is not a Shakespeare play.
The Merry Wives of Windsor.
Ah, yes.
Well, that is a Shakespeare play, but that guess is wrong. This is part 1 of Henry IV.
Yes, historical plays are always our strength.
Yes, a historical play. Nobody ever reads those. Okay. Here's a good one.
You forgot the best quote from that one, which was Henry IV be with you.
Here we go. Hell is empty and all the devils are here.
Oh, I got this one.
Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. Oh, now, come on. Oh, beauteous, how beauteous mankind is. Oh, brave new world that has such people on it.
Okay, is that
No?
the Tempest?
Yes, we'll give that to Merwin.
I got Tempest shy after my first guess.
The Tempest. The Tempest. Okay. The devil can cite scripture for his purpose. All that glisters is not gold.
Oh, Merchant of Venice.
Yes. Boy, Merwin's cleaning up.
Come on, Elaine, you can at least be Googling over there live. I can't get away with it here in the studio.
Totally.
I was there.
Okay. You guys will get this. Don't waste your love on somebody who doesn't value it. You kiss by the book. Now, if you don't get this one,
This is Romeo.
arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon.
Right. That's Romeo and Juliet.
A famous aria from the opera by Gounod. Ah, lève-toi, soleil, di-di-di-di-di-di. Usually they sing it better than that.
It goes very well with the underscoring. I think it's...
You know, it's just like your concept for moving soliloquies. We take
No, it's nothing like that concept.
No? Okay.
No. Yes.
All right, let's keep going. This is so much fun. Okay.
Yeah? You sure about that?
For who?
Stars, hide your fires. Let not light see my black and deep desires.
Macbeth?
Say again?
Macbeth?
Yes, how'd you know that one? That's not as well known of a quote.
I thought we already did make that.
Did we? Well, we did it again. All right. Listen to many, speak to a few. There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To sleep, perchance to dream, aye, there's the rub.
Hi, Hamlet.
Yes. Obviously. Okay. You know, these last few are a little tricky. Okay.
Oh, yay.
Let's see. I'll skip down here. Okay. Many a true word hath been spoken in jest. Thou wouldst not have been old till thou hadst been wise. What do you think of my delivery, by the way?
I was impressed, actually. I didn't hear any effort whatsoever.
You'll get this one. How sharper than a serpent's tooth it is to have a thankless child.
King Lear.
Yes, King Lear. All right,
Or,
let's see.
or any one of our households, in the morning before school.
Exactly. Okay, last one. All things are ready if our mind be so. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. Once more into the breach, dear friends. Another one of those historical plays. Henry V,
yeah.
yes.
Were there multiple
Okay.
parts to Henry V? I don't know.
Well, let me count it up here and see who won, because I don't
I
know
think
until
Merwin
we get
got
the
it again.
official count. Merwin, I think, got at least 27 of these.
Right.
Michael got
Out
a
of
couple. Yeah, 27 out of 11. So,
That's
good job to
That's
Merwin.
a tough time signature.
A tough time signature indeed.
Those 11th notes. The more you know.
Good job, guys.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. I'm populating my soundboard. If Elaine is not participating, I've got his daughter on my soundboard. She can speak for you.
She
Much
should
better.
say, "Great job, Merwin," and then you guys can do better.
Exactly.
I had higher hopes for you. That
Here-
would be the
here.
great insult from a child.
Yeah.
Guys, we can do better than that.
Yeah.
Than that.
You have to wait for it. We can do better.
Genius, my foot.
Wow. That was, I don't even know what to say to that. Okay. So is there anything else that anybody wants to add about this before I do a wrap up?
I think I've said enough.
I'll just throw in a little bit here. You know, we just have to see this as another great example of why TAPA exists. You know, we are the Toledo Alliance for the Performing Arts, and by bringing together dance and music, we can create those wonderful moments where 1 + 1 = 3 or 4 or 5. And you know, we've unfortunately, due to the pandemic, had very few opportunities to show off this vision. We did it with Carmina Burana. If anybody remembers the wonderful choreography that Michael added to that, I think that will be a memory for everybody to take from the concerts that we performed. Here's another opportunity to see what music and dance and now oration can really bring together. And I'm just proud that even in this tragic pandemic, we've been able to keep the performing arts alive, and we've remained committed to it. And I'm so thrilled for this performance.
Well, I think we're all thrilled for this performance. And like I said before, you know, it's happening just once on the stage. People can capture that lightning in a bottle live with the live stream. There may still be a few tickets left before the concert, so you can call up if you want to come and attend in person. The box office number is 419-246-8000. You can also get tickets at ToledoSymphony.com. And you can stream this event as well. If you're listening to this podcast and the date has already passed, April 25th, go online anyway. You can find it there, and you can watch it at your leisure from home. That is at stream.artstoledo.com. This program is a production of WGTE Public Media in collaboration with our sponsor, the Toledo Symphony, with generous support from the Rita Barber Kern Foundation. You can download episodes of our program as a podcast by going to our website at wgte.org/lab. You can also subscribe to us through your podcast app of choice, including Apple and Google Podcasts. Don't forget to check out all the upcoming events at the Symphony online. You can visit their website at ToledoSymphony.com and their various social media outlets, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also find the TSO streaming concerts online. As I mentioned, you can find that at stream.artstoledo.com. My thanks to Zach Vassar, Merwin Sue, Michael Lang, and our special guest, Elaine Trudell. I'm Brad Cresswell, and this has been Toledo Symphony Lab from FM 91.
I love how I started out special and then I didn't end special.
Guys, we can do better than that.
Yep.